When Americans travel to Europe, quite often what they'll do is they'll sew a Canadian flag to their backpack. That way the Europeans treat them a little bit better. Did you know about that? Yeah, well, as a Canadian living over there, that highly offends me. And just to let you guys know, I am fighting back, all right? What I do is I sew an American flag to my backpack. That way I can be a fucking asshole everywhere I go. Isn't that nice?
The relief in people's faces when you travel abroad and you tell them that you're Canadian and you're not American is everything. I went to Brazil last summer and I really needed an emergency blowout before an event. Like, the salon was about to close, but they let me in because I spoke a little bit of Portuguese, so that helped. And as I got into the salon, it was filled with Brazilian people. And they were all like, "Você é americana?" Like, you're American. And I was like, "No, eu sou canadense." The relief on everybody's faces, all of a sudden everybody starts opening up to me, talking to me, asking me questions about Canada and how I'm like in Brazil. But the tensions, when another lady came in, didn't speak a lick of Portuguese, and they asked her where she was from, and she said she's American. Honey, I was in the chair like this. Look, I'm not saying that y'all are hated or whatever, but I'm just saying y'all ain't liked either.
Apparently Americans are disguising themselves, or better yet, pretending to be Canadian when traveling to get better treatment. The behavior is called flagjacking, which is basically Americans sewing a Canadian flag, the maple leaf, onto their bags when visiting foreign countries so foreigners treat them better. Looks like the policies that are being enacted in America right now are not very popular overseas. The point that Americans feel like they can't go overseas as Americans, they gotta be Canadian. And apparently Canadians are not happy with this. If you've been paying attention, all the tariffs and the whole we're gonna turn Canada into the 51st state is not very popular with our northern neighbors. And I find this so interesting because the one thing that I read about all the time when people come and visit America, they're astounded by how patriotic and how many American flags are everywhere. So the fact that somebody would actually use a Canadian flag when traveling and Americans are so proud, I find it kind of boggling.
You know what's funny about being an American in Europe? I am constantly apologizing for being American, and rightfully so. I make new friends and people are like, "Where are you from?" And sometimes people think I'm from Canada, which is flattering, but then I gotta kill the mood and be like, "Oh, I'm American." And typically the reaction I get from Europeans is, "I'm sorry to hear that." And I just naturally go, "I'm so sorry." And I've learned, if you just apologize for being an American, you'll be accepted for being an American. You know, if you think about it, it's just really embarrassing to be team red, white, and blue, but hey man, someone's gotta do it.
I have lived in London as an American for 2 years, and I am sad to say that more often than not, if someone asks me if I'm American, I say that I'm Canadian. If it's someone that doesn't matter, if it's someone that's like a random person on the street or like someone I'm never going to see again or like doesn't really want to talk to me, I say I'm Canadian. It's easier. I don't want to talk about American politics. I don't want to talk about our dumb president. I want to skip all that. Nobody has any qualms with the Canadians. Everyone loves a Canadian. It's just such an easier conversation, and I don't feel bad about it. I don't feel bad about it. I'm going to keep doing it.
Yeah. And I think it's funny because a lot of people on, there's a lot of people on social media right now going, "Oh my God, you don't realize how hated, you are now as Americans, and the U.S. is so hated." And I think, I spent most of my time overseas, right? And most people are going, "Yeah, it seems like it's common sense. You guys are finally coming around," right? And so I don't think they're going to win the argument that somehow the U.S. is more hated. Look, we've been hated in a variety of locations.
Well, we definitely are hated in Canada right now.
Oh, yeah.
Is that a hockey game? They were booing the national anthem so hard.
Canadians of all walks of life are the best people in the world.
Wow.
And
that's a big statement to make.
No, it's real. It's not just because you're here.
Yeah.
I've many years in the business, and Canadians, they have my heart. They're the best people.
You've met people from all over the world.
All over the world.
So you know what everybody's like around the world.
Yes. Like, say something's going bad or the weather or anything, you guys are always like chill. Like excuse me. You're like, you just have my heart.
Do you wear a Canadian flag when you travel? Apparently, it is a very common thing. My mom even put one on my suitcase. Also, there have been rumors for years that Americans actually put Canadian flags on their luggage and bags when they travel. There's even a term for it. Apparently, it's a well-known thing. If I was in Europe and I saw someone with a maple leaf in their bag, I'd assume they were American. When I travel, I assume the flag people are disguised Americans. My parents just got back from Spain, and the Americans they encountered were using Canadian flags. Does this happen?
We're Canadians traveling in Mexico, and the amount of old Canadian sports team paraphernalia that people are wearing just to show that they're Canadian out here in Mexico is very interesting.
Yeah, I don't think they're wearing that at home.
No, there's Quebec Nordiques out here. There's old school Winnipeg Jets stuff. Like anything that says I'm Canadian, not the other guys. Well, here in Mexico.
Dog it out of their closet for this vacation.
Deep cuts.
Family. For decades, carrying an American passport around the world was often seen as a symbol of influence, opportunity, and even global power. And so the United States has long been one of the most recognized countries on earth, and many people proudly identified themselves as Americans wherever they traveled. But something unexpected has been happening in recent years, family. Some Americans are saying that when they travel internationally, they feel more comfortable being mistaken for Canadians than immediately identifying themselves as American. And so the reason behind this shift is not because Americans suddenly stopped loving their country. Instead, it reflects something much deeper, family. The way a nation's global image can change depending on the actions and leadership of its government. And so under Donald Trump's leadership, many international observers and foreign citizens have developed stronger options about America's political direction, especially regarding issues such as diplomacy, immigration, climate policies, and even America's relationship with its allies. So, meanwhile, Canada has built a reputation in many parts of the world as a country associated with politeness, stability, multiculturalism, and cooperation. And so, Canadian leaders, including Prime Minister Mark Carney, have continued emphasizing Canada's image as a reliable international partner. And as a result, some travelers say that being perceived as Canadian can sometimes lead to warmer interactions in certain places. And there are stories of Americans jokingly saying that they would rather say that they are from Canada when traveling abroad because they believe that Canadians receive a more positive reaction. And so the famous stereotype of Canadians being friendly and respectful has become a powerful part of the country's global identity. But this conversation is not simply about a passport, family. It is about reputation. Countries, just like individuals, develop reputations based on their actions. A country can have incredible natural resources, a strong economy, and a powerful military, but how people around the world emotionally connect with that country also matters. And so for some Americans, this has created an uncomfortable reality that they feel that their personal identity is being affected by political decisions made by leaders they may or may not support. And so they are separating themselves from the image created by the government and trying to communicate that they are not defined by the most controversial aspects of the American politics. And on the other side, many Canadians see this moment as proof that their country's values and international reputation carry significant weight. And so Canada has often positioned itself as a country focused on diplomacy, social programs, and cooperation with global partners. And this has helped create a perception among many people people abroad that Canadians are approachable and even trustworthy. However, it is also important to recognize that every country has complexities, family. And so Canada has its own challenges, debates, and criticisms, and no nation is perfect. But what this discussion highlights is the importance of soft power, the ability of a country to influence others through culture, through values and reputation, rather than just economic or even military strength. And so the surprising part is that this debate is happening at a time when national identity identity has become more visible than ever. And so social media has allowed people around the world to instantly react to political decisions, and a leader's actions can influence how millions of people view an entire country.